Hi, welcome to Happier Ladies. We're sisters who discuss all things related to work, family, and personal growth.
We draw inspiration from everywhere, especially from you, our listeners, to keep moving forward with joy and laughter and the big adventure that is life.
1 week at a time.
I'm Azizi Williams. I live and work in the LA area. I'm a mom of 2, soon to be an empty nester, and I'm an education professional in the independent school world. I'm here with my sister, Malika Amandi.
That's me. I'm a SoCal native living in Western Massachusetts, a newish mom, and I work in higher ed.
In this episode, we'll recap our favorite moments from the Happier with Gretchen Rubin podcast and Happier in Hollywood hosted by Liz Craft and Sarah Fain.
But first, Azizi, I have discovered a new personal fashion rule for myself.
Okay, let's hear it.
So from here forward, I will only buy black or white socks. Solid colors. I'm letting go of fun patterned socks. I just have too many without pairs, and it is so frustrating in the morning not being able to find 2 socks that match. And I have like a bin of socks, and somehow none of them have pairs. I'm over it. So I will find other ways to express whimsy in my wardrobe. I just need to go really simple and have 2 options because life is too short. And I think I need to do this with Indigo's socks also. It's sad because he's so young, you really want to have joy with his socks, but I don't think it's worth the scrambling. And also for his socks, it doesn't really matter that much if they mismatch. So maybe I can just lean into that. But
all right, I'm going to confess something to you, Malika.
yes.
I feel like I'm fairly new to the sock game because I'm fairly new to the tennis shoe game, and I don't wear socks most days of the week. I wear flats without socks mostly.
Don't your feet get sweaty or blisters?
I definitely don't get blisters. Sweatiness is not an issue.
Okay.
And it's warm in
True.
LA most of the time. So I don't wear socks, but when I do, and when I have, and of course, I wear them when I work out and, if I'm wearing tennis shoes, they're always white.
Yeah.
Or they're always black. I have one pair of patterned socks that I recently got. And every time I look at patterned socks, I get overwhelmed. Like, I don't know. Is this too much? I don't know. I only have maybe 1 or 2 patterned socks in my drawer. Everything else, I buy a pack of 12 from Target. And then when they all go missing, because they do eventually, you just buy another pack. So
Yeah.
it goes.
I think I don't buy them as much as they come to me as gifts. And so I collect them somehow. And they're great. I love them. Don't get me wrong, but it's just too much to keep track of. So I'm going to go your route and just buy big packs. It's funny because even with the white socks, I've got some that are like tall and then some that are really short for tennis shoes. And then I'll get into a pattern where I can't find pairs for those, like the same size sock, So I need to just...
You're doing too much. It's doing too much
happening.
Just find one size and kind, and then just keep buying the same one. It's going to feel really good. It's funny though, when you said that people give them to you as gifts, the pattern socks, because maybe I have given you some pattern socks as gifts. No one ever gives me socks as a gift. I had never received a pair of patterned socks as a gift.
Funny.
People maybe just know I don't wear them. If someone gifted them to me, I would probably wear them, but it's really funny. That's not been an issue for me.
Wow. Well, the style guidelines are just getting clearer and clearer every day.
I like this manifesto, the style manifesto that is developing for us.
Azizi, what happened recently on Happier and More Happier?
Okay, so we are going to cover Happier episodes 500 and 501, or through 501. And on the More Happier, titled The Joy of Deadlines, Couples Therapy, and Pondering One of Life's Big Questions, Gretchen talked about a show called Couples Therapy that she was watching with her daughter. And she talked about how nice it was to have a values conversation based on what was coming up on the show. and how it just provided this opportunity for her and her daughter to kind of just open up about what they thought about the couples and then maybe getting into their own lives. And it was funny because as she was talking about this, I thought about time that I spent this summer with my daughters having values conversations, but it was when we were watching the Kardashians.
That's
So,
good.
which it still provided some good fodder for what would you do? And, what wouldn't you do? I don't watch the Kardashians. I'm not into that typically, but when they are sitting down watching something together, I definitely will join in. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to have those conversations. So, yeah, I like that.
That's cool. We're not there yet with Indigo.
Right? How's the garbage truck conversations going?
We do talk a lot about garbage trucks, fire trucks, any kind of vehicles we do discuss at length.
Explore that
So,
thoroughly.
yeah, but nothing, well, that's not true. He's a big fan of Daniel Tiger, and
Oh,
there are like morality lessons in each episode about sharing or getting mad, and I do reference them, and he seems to know what I'm talking about. So,
well, there you go.
that's helpful. There's a song about if you feel so mad and you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. And I can't remember what was going on. I was trying to like go to the bathroom and he was messing with the toilet paper and we were in a thing and I was in a, compromised position and I roared. And
You just roared. You just started like a lion.
I did, and he was very surprised. It did stop him, and I think it kind of scared him. I wasn't thinking that through, but I did want to roar, and then I sang the song, and then he kind of was like, "Okay." So maybe it's
It worked.
having more of an influence on me than on him, but yeah, that's where we're at. I'm sure it'll evolve.
That's also the power of a song. Like
Yeah.
turning difficult emotions and values into songs is helpful too.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice. Well, in episode 500, Reflections and Insights Prompted by Our Podcast Manifesto, Gretchen and Liz talked about their manifesto. It was a big deal. It was their 500th episode. So they kind of went back and reflected on how they came to be, how the podcast was created, and then the manifesto that guides them. And it made me think about us and how we do not have a manifesto for our podcast. And do we need a manifesto? What would be in it?
That's a good question. I think we do have some like guiding statements that we used when we first started, because we were figuring out what are we doing. So we have to go back and find that. Maybe that can be the start of our manifesto.
Hmm.
I think it's a great exercise for us. We're thinking about this at work, the conversation around mission, vision, and values for our team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a manifesto is such a good combination of those things without having to define those terms or like the nuances between them. So I like that you can just say sentences. You can just make statements in a manifesto and
Right.
somehow it all works together. It doesn't have to follow a certain structure or anything. And when I was doing coaching work, I used to assign clients to make a manifesto for themselves, like for their life right
Mm.
now. What are you about?
Mm.
And I think I referenced Gretchen's resources around how to make a manifesto
Yeah.
that I've shared widely.
I think it would be helpful. Based on Gretchen's personal manifesto, I started sort of taking notes and thinking about what my personal manifesto is. So that might be something I add to my 25 for 25 because I've definitely been writing things down as I realize they're essential about me or things that I always want to remember. But going back to the podcast, you said that we started with some values or some statements, and I don't remember them. And I think that's another reason to have a manifesto and have a regular time when you revisit it, right? Like having some regular cadence, and maybe it's annually, which that is around this time for us. So
Right.
I think that is maybe something we should do soon,
Yes.
at least to revisit those early statements that we made or early goals we made.
What's something from your personal manifesto is easy?
One thing is always reach out.
Hmm.
There are times like in my job or in my personal life where I'll wonder, should I reach out to that person? Should I say something? Should I follow up?
Hmm.
And always do. Like if you think should you always do, because there are times when I haven't. And then later on down the line, it was clear that my saying I'm thinking about you or just following up could have made a difference or could have
Hmm.
helped that person feel better. So that's one thing that's on my manifesto. Yeah, I think I have about 7 or so now. Yeah, then the trick is like, when do you have too many? And when is it
Right.
just obvious or not different or unique or essential? I think that's the thing. And what's essential? So I'm still thinking about it.
I like that. I like that as a 25 for 25 thing.
Yeah, I think I can add that. My 25 for 25 idea list is very long.
Yes.
So I'm going to have to do some editing. 25 is already a lot, but clearly I've found ways to fill it.
I feel like at the end of the Happiness Project Revisited, maybe in December, there's some kind of culminating process. I feel like we're kind of supposed to be
Oh,
writing our personal commandments, which is very similar
oh.
vibes.
That might be what I was thinking. Personal
Okay.
commandments. That's different than manifesto.
But is it, you know,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
That's something Malika's husband Norm says.
Yes. Nobody
Nobody
knows.
knows. Okay, well, I'll figure that out. We'll report back and share at the end of the year. I'll share out what I've come to. But something else that Gretchen said in this episode, I think it was part of her manifesto, which is a strong voice repels as well as attracts, which was so profound to me. And what she was saying is that be you and be like all you and don't be afraid to be you and to have your voice and opinion. And it's not going to be for everyone. And
Hmm.
that's okay because it will be for some people. Some people will find you and will love that. There will be some people who don't, but that's okay. And I
Hmm.
feel like that's such an important point to remember, especially for women, to just say your thing, say your truth, be you, and
Yeah.
know that it will attract, but it will also repel. Some people, it's not going to be their cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I think that's a good message too.
On one of the other more episodes, Gretchen Rubin was interviewed on the Deep Dive podcast. And there was a hilarious conversation about printers again. And if you listen to the previous episode, I talked about my Valley being not replacing the ink in the printer. And I realized it's a universal thing. And there's this Instagram post of a person personifying a printer that doesn't want to be helpful. And it is so relatable.
Azizi, what is the meme? Can you describe it?
It's a woman who's having a conversation with her printer. And when she's dressed up as the printer, she's like this like too cool for school person. And so the woman, when she's herself, she's saying, "Can you just print this for me, please?" And the printer's like, "No, error." And she's like, "No, there's no error. You're fine. What's the problem?" And the printer says, "That's not my department. I'm sorry." It's like this. They kind of go back and forth. It's really funny. You have to see it.
You have to see it. We'll share it. We'll try to share it.
Okay. Okay.
I totally resonated with that conversation too, because our printer is in the basement and it seems to always need something. I'm always cleaning the printer heads. And it's like I only need one piece, one thing every so often, you know? So I think I'm just very wary of printing anything. Like, do I really need to print this? Could I just write it down in my
Oh
journal? Like,
no, because it's so
yeah,
precious, the
or
printer.
just it's such a hassle. Like, could I just take a screenshot of this and show it to somebody? Like, when anything says like print out the tickets, I'm just like, wait a minute, what? Why? I don't think I really need to print it out. They should be able to see it on my phone, or
We
it
don't need a
feels so
printout.
inconvenient.
Okay, there's a printer I want to get, Malika. Okay, two things. First of all, shout out to Emily. About 4 years ago, I needed a printer, and I said, "Emily, just what printer do you have? I just need a printer." She sent me the name of her printer, and this printer has been fantastic. So, other than me not replacing the ink, it has been fantastic. So, I will share this printer that I have
Okay.
that I recommend. But also, there's these new things. They print out stickers. They'll like just print out a sticker of your photo or of whatever you send it
Mm,
from your phone. So you can put it in your journal or you can, I guess it's like a label maker, but it's just really easy to use. And
yes.
it's also a wider sticker. So it takes up more space. It shows more things. And I can think of so many uses for this. So this is something on my list of things to get.
I have seen people use that like in the planner community
Right.
for
Yes.
memory
The
keeping,
planner
or
community.
that's very handy because to print out a photo easily that you can just stick somewhere. But it's a small gadget, right? It's not like a big printer.
It's small and I've seen them pretty
Hmm.
inexpensive, so I'm very curious. Yeah. I was thinking like I want to have a monthly calendar in my journal, but I want
Hmm.
it to be really small. If I could just print that out, a PDF. Anyway, we digress. Let's dig into episode 501. Turn acquaintances into friends, an email hack, and a happiness lesson learned from our parents.
What stood out to you in this episode?
Gretchen and Liz, they were talking about friendships and how to turn an acquaintance into a friend. And one of the tips that was shared was telling a secret to someone kind of bumps them from an
Mm,
acquaintance to a friend if you sort of disclose something about yourself or share a secret. And I could think of, one or two times where I've been on the other end of
mm,
receiving a secret from someone when I didn't want that secret. Like it felt too soon. I was just thinking about how that one tip
yeah,
is really tricky and you have to make sure that they're really up for that or ready for that.
I can relate to that. I've been on the other end of that too, where it feels like somebody's oversharing too fast. And what do you do with it? You're kind of on the hook, or I don't know. It's weird, or you just avoid that
Yeah.
person.
Right. It can be awkward. So it's just a note of caution
Yeah. It
about the secret sharing.
it feels like in the list, I don't remember how many tips they gave, but that's one of the ones that should come later in the process. Like after you've already hung out together, you're
Right.
texting, individually. That feels like a later card to be played.
That's interesting, Malika, because when they were going through the list, I wasn't thinking about it in chronological order, but maybe it was, and sort of increasing levels of spiciness, or I don't know, maybe
Platonic intimacy.
intimacy. Right. That's interesting.
One of the other suggestions they gave was to have a nickname for somebody. And
Hmm.
that was big in my grad school class. There were 9 of us in my cohort. We spent so much time together. I feel like by the end of week 1, everybody had a nickname for everybody else,
Aw. Yeah.
and mine was Mal's, and that really stuck. Those people still call me Mal's, and it's Malz.
Why?
I don't know, we were a thing. There were 4 women in our class. Sabina became Sabs, Amy Lynn became Dubs. I don't know, I
Oh, I
became
see.
Mal's. It was like a whole thing.
Okay. That context is helpful. Now
Okay,
it makes sense. You add a Z.
but what's funny is that there was one person in the class, we did not like each other. We were like oil and vinegar
Oh,
for 3 years, but he had a nickname for me. He called me M, just the letter
uh-huh.
M.
Okay.
He was the only one that called me that, but because he did have a nickname for me, there was, like, somehow an underlying affection or understanding, even though we didn't like each other or like being around each other.
Okay.
Like, it made us more like siblings than enemies because he had a nickname for me. So,
This sounds like a sitcom that I would want to watch. The endless stories about this like enemy that you had who called you M. I love that.
do you have nicknames, Azizi, that have stuck for you?
I mean, just Z.
Yeah?
And really, only my family and maybe friends from high school called me Z.
Okay.
That's it. There's nothing else. But I don't mind that one.
Norm and I have a nickname for each other that doesn't make any sense. I'm not gonna go into what it is, but it's just what we call one another, and this past week, Indigo started saying it, and we both looked at each other like, "Oh, no." Like, our weird language, making up words, of course our
Oh,
child is gonna pick up on these things that have
yes.
no meaning outside of our home. Yeah, we didn't like that, but we'll see what happens.
You guys are really good at making up names for things
Yeah.
and sticking with it. Making a language. That's funny.
So they talked about how their parents really modeled the value of voting as they were growing up, that was a huge part of their parents' life, and they didn't necessarily talk about it explicitly, but they were just always politically engaged in that way and making sure that they knew when they were going to vote in every election. And so that got me thinking about voting and just how do you vote, Azizi? Like, are you a vote by mail person or are you into voting at the polls?
I vote by mail, but then I drop it off at the polls.
Me too.
What? Really? You do that too?
Yes.
Okay. So I like to do it in the comfort of my own home. I like to ponder and think about things. I'm not rushed. I can take my time. But then I like to go and drop it in and make sure it makes it to where it needs to
Yeah.
go.
That's so funny. I'm exactly the same way. I'm like a permanent vote by mail, but I don't think I've actually ever mailed my ballot in. I
Right.
always take it and drop it off. But there's something about just having the time to do it. And I think what I get nervous about is like the lines at the polls.
Oh, right.
If I won't have enough time or I don't want to feel rushed in the booth,
Yeah.
which I think they don't rush you. It's always very calm vibe, but it just makes me feel more secure knowing that I can just drop it off quickly if I need to.
Yeah. There's a nice community there too. It's
Yeah.
nice to see the volunteers and it feels very patriotic, like Gretchen said. So I like to walk it in and still be a part of that part of it. Yeah, I'm grateful we get to have these options for voting. And, I was so proud of Ilea, my older daughter who's out of state in college, and she took it upon herself to figure out how to vote. She was like, well, how should I do this? And how do I make sure I can still vote even though I'm not going to be in state during the election? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. And so she asked around, she did some sleuthing, she searched, and then she figured it out and she took care of it. So she's going to get a ballot mailed to her. And I was like, wow, good for you, Ilea, for taking that seriously and being committed to voting.
Nice.
Yeah. There's also this really sweet story in the New York Times about a sticker. You know how you get the sticker I voted after you vote?
Yes.
Which is really sweet, and people can kind of know that they were participated and you feel a part of a community. And so apparently in the city in Michigan, they have a contest to decide who gets to design the I voted sticker. It was a middle school contest, and the winner of their I voted sticker contest was a seventh grader who designed this sticker with a werewolf on it, like tearing open his shirt, howling at the moon. It was like a color pencil illustration of this not typically associated with voting, but like completely random. But it was so charming, the story. And they interviewed the young, I think it was a girl who designed it and what was her motivation. And she wasn't really thinking about voting at all, but just kind of drawing something fun to fill the time in class when her teacher asked her to participate. And then it was a democratically, voted on illustration. And a lot of people thought it was cool. So now you could get this werewolf howling at the moon I voted sticker if you live in the city in Michigan.
Funny.
And then they showed some of the other contest winners, and they were so sweet and charming. And I thought, what a great idea. Why not mix it up a little bit? And I like
Yeah.
stickers. So this was an article for me. Anyway, I'll link that article so you can read about it. It was very sweet.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That reminds me, sometimes cities will do like a crowdsourcing to name a street or name a new building or something. And it always ends up being the wackiest
Right.
thing that
Yes.
people vote on, and then they
Yeah.
have to choose it.
Be careful with those types of contests. Yeah. But this one was like, there's no harm. Again, it was just
Yeah,
kind of cool. And it's a limited edition. Maybe more people will want to vote to get that sticker.
that's fun.
Let's take a break. And when we get back, we'll deep dive into Happier in Hollywood.
Azizi, how's your dinner game these days?
Well, Malika, I used to struggle with what to cook for dinner.
You're cooking now?
Okay. Actually, my husband used to struggle with what to make for dinner. I mean, meal planning, grocery lists, yuck. But then we found Prep Dish. It's a weekly meal planning service that tells you exactly what to cook. And now they've partnered with Instacart, so your grocery list becomes a ready-to-go online cart.
Oh, what's in your cart, Azizi?
All of the Prep Dish ingredients, plus I can add energy drinks, chili crisp, lipstick, whatever, and check out in just a few clicks. Shopping online is so fun. The meals are family-friendly, healthy, and super easy to prep. Dinner is easy to make, and now we look forward to new tasty meals.
Prep Dish is offering our listeners 2 weeks free. Just head to prepdish.com/happierladies to sign up. Again, that's prepdish.com/happierladies.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
We're back with Happier in Hollywood, focusing on episodes 384 and 385. Malika, why don't you start us off?
So in episode 384, set a fall agenda and talking even the rich. Liz and Sarah talked about purse hook hangers, which is like a little trinket that you can put on the table, and it kind of has a hook that you can put your purse on. Somehow the trinket stays on the table, so it's pretty solid. It's great for if you're at a bar or something. And I used to have one of these. I think I had two, and I'm like, where did that go? What happened to that thing? It is super useful. In grad school, I feel like I was in my purse hook hanger era. And whenever I used it, I felt so put together and sophisticated. And it's just like the size of a pog. Remember pogs?
That's such a funny reference. I think only people of a certain age are going to remember what a pog was, and it's very narrow.
Well, it was exactly the size of a pog, and it folded out.
I would say it's more like it's a pop socket.
Yeah,
right?
I guess that would be
Isn't that
now.
what those are called? A more current reference. I remember them, and what's funny is that I've never owned one. Never owned one. But I do look at them and I think, how does that work? Like, how this can't work? But they keep making them. I'm sure it works, physics or something,
Yeah.
some counterweight or something. But yeah, I've never had one. I probably would find it useful.
Well, keep an eye out around the holidays.
Okay, well, you too, Malika.
So they also talked about their fall work goals, and they had very kind of ambitious fall goals. And I'm curious, Azizi, do you have specific fall goals personally or otherwise? Or is it a part of the giant, we have our bigger list that we're working through for 24?
Right. I don't think I have goals outside of some of the things that we talked about last episode and the things, that have come up on our list. But I do want to come up with a fall bucket list. This is something that we've done annually where there's a distinct season, there's seasonal things that happen. And if you don't make a plan, they will go by the wayside. So that's something I want to do. What about you, Malika? Do you have fall personal goals?
I think it's more like, better get to the things on the annual list that haven't made it yet.
Right.
TikTok.
Yep.
But I also would like to do some of the fall bucket list things. And I haven't written them down yet. So I've got to sort that out. I mean, something with a pumpkin, obviously. Something maybe with apples. Apple picking doesn't really do it for me, but it just feels like in this part, because we live near orchards, like we kind of just got to do it anyway.
I mean, it just seems like you could walk out to the front yard and pick an apple and you could cross it off.
I don't have an apple.
They're everywhere.
Tree, but
your neighbors do.
It just feels like a thing we should do. And I can't even describe why I don't like it. It's a fine activity. It just doesn't make me feel particularly good.
It's funny because it is labor, but in the summer, you go out to the farm. I was with you and you pick food.
I don't do that. I did that for the two of us, but I try not to go.
Got it.
To be honest.
That's not something you typically do. You just did it with me.
I did it with you.
Got it.
We go sometimes as a family, but it's mostly Norm that goes, or Norm and Indigo. I don't enjoy picking food.
I could see that. It's labor. It is labor. Well, you did talk about decorating.
Yes, I do still want to do that. And I've amassed fall, I was going to say I've amassed fall clutter. So I've got to put it out around the house.
You've amassed. It's in a box somewhere that you have to take out the clutter for fall.
Fall bric-a-brac. So I should bring it up.
It's funny. I decorated last week and I know I'm so proud of myself. I took the time to do it. which is a time to declutter also and to like take things away. And in my mind, I imagined all of this fall decor that I had. And when I
Mm.
put it out, I was like, oh, it actually is not that much, but it's fine. I'm pleased with what I have.
Do you have your candles going?
I got my candles going. It's definitely a cozy vibe. I just have to turn on the electric fireplace now. And
Nice.
then we're really getting cozy, but it's still not cold enough. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for it to drop a little bit, but I'm ready.
So in this episode, Liz and Sarah talked to the hosts of the Even the Rich podcast, which is kind of a celebrity gossip podcast, but humanizing celebrities and their gossip. And I hadn't heard of it, but I'm going to check it out. I'm intrigued. And I was curious, do you follow celebrity gossip? Is that something you're into? Or I don't think so, but I don't know.
I do follow celebrity gossip, but by the time I hear it, it's definitely old. It's not like I'm in the know about it or something, or that I have a late breaking thing. Sometimes Ilea will send me things. She knows the news all the time. She keeps up with all of that stuff. And as soon as it happens, somehow she knows about it before, it goes out on news outlets and things like that. But it is entertaining to me a little bit, the celebrity news.
I haven't really followed celebrity news, but I do like the podcast Normal Gossip, which I've talked
Right.
about before,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Anti-celebrity gossip.
just regular people's business, but everybody's anonymized. And so it feels kind of benign in that way. I think it's kind of like listening to reality TV like that. I think it scratches that
Oh,
itch for me of
that's
just like
interesting.
hearing about other people's relationships and situations. And somehow I feel like I learn from it, but it is also just entertaining.
I tried to listen to it and I don't like regular gossip, it turns out. Not interesting. Or like what happens with reality TV in me where I kind of cringe and like feel bad for the
Mm,
things that these people are going through. Even though it's very lighthearted, reality gossip podcasting, not for me either.
good to know.
Mhm. One of the hosts of Even the Rich, she was talking about improv and the important role that improv plays in her life. And Malika, this is something that you have suggested for me when I talked about some of my challenges with small talk or
Mm.
social engagement. And it's been on my mind, but I just don't know. I don't know. It's such a foreign space to me. I'm curious, what is it like? Can you describe what an improv class is like?
So I think you'll appreciate it coming from an education background. It could feel a lot like just icebreaker after icebreaker.
I do like an icebreaker.
You stand in a circle and you play theater games. That's the foundation. And then you kind of work up to maybe doing scenes, but most everything is a game. There's rules, and then you have to participate within a structure, which in that way, it's very easy to get in. Everybody's got the same rules. And I think when you think about improv and you haven't done it, you might picture like SNL, and
Right.
that's, a whole other level and whatever. But there's a lot of games just pretending, but with a structure. I think you would be great at it. I think you would have a lot of fun. And it does just open you up to
Mm-hmm.
being willing to play, which we don't have a lot of spaces for as adults to really connect to our imagination where the stakes are so low.
Right.
So in that way, it's fun. And it does take some practice to kind of put yourself in those situations. But I think getting to the class is like just a very good step. Once you're there, that's, I think, the hardest part. Like you're going to do the exercises once you're in the circle. Like you just will.
But what do you wear?
What do you wear?
How are people dressed?
Usually like comfortable clothes that you can move around in. So loose fitting clothing, but people will wear anything. I mean, you live in LA, people will wear anything. Like,
Do you take off your shoes?
no,
It's not like a dance class.
no.
Okay.
Yeah, you
This is
probably won't
helpful.
have to take off your shoes.
Do you cry? Do people
Do
cry?
people cry?
I don't know. Seems like anything can happen.
I think
in
people, if they were
experience.
crying, it would probably be like pretend crying, like,
Okay. All right.
for effect.
Good. This is helpful.
Yeah.
And this is really helpful. I have a better picture of what it's like now.
Especially in LA, like there are just so many classes and they're very tiered. So you would go to a beginner's class with other beginners and everything will be just at the right level.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There would be other beginners. It's not like I would be out of my depth necessarily.
No,
Okay, that's also important to remember.
very approachable. So you're going to do it.
I am.
Okay.
I am going to do it. I love an icebreaker. I like games. I think it could be fun. But for some reason, it's feeling like the same thing as like going to a group exercise class or something, which it's feeling like that same kind of, I don't know, fear or worry about how am I going to do? But I want to do it. I want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, your heart will probably beat fast, you know?
Right. There, you'll burn some calories.
Yeah. You'll feel like you might feel nervous in the moment.
Like anxiety a little bit.
Yes. But the thing is,
Yeah.
everybody there is doing the same thing. And it's like, if there's a good teacher, and there are a lot of good teachers in LA, they will help you. It'll be fine.
Do you know that Michael Scott did improv on The Office?
I do know that. Yes.
There's a connection there too.
Don't be like Michael Scott, but
I know, I'm trying. What happened in 385?
So 385, they talked about blank page stress and dressing up. So when was the last time that you dressed up, Azizi? Like really dressed up?
Right, I'm thinking about this. I'm sure there was some holiday party that I attended last year. I can't remember. Listen, I do dress up. There are work events where I need to be
Yes.
dressier. When I'm at a conference, there might be a reception, or there are times when for work events like a gala or a auction fundraiser. So that's probably what it was. For one of the boards that I was on, there was a gala. I had to dress up. That was in May. But I dressed up last year when Grayson and I went to Dapper Day. I think I talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
At Disneyland, where you like really go all out, kind of 50s, 60s vibe. And I wore some formal attire. What about you, Malika? When did you dress up last?
I want to see a Dapper Day photo again.
Oh.
I don't think we've shared that on Instagram.
Okay, I will share it. Yeah.
The last time it was my birthday, and actually the birthday weekend, because we went to a wedding one day. So I really dressed up for the wedding, though I had about 15 minutes to get ready. So like, did I really dress up? I don't know, because we were driving to New York and then only had so much time. So let's not count that. But the next day for my birthday, I did. I put on makeup, I put on lashes. That's it, I guess. I got heels.
The bar for you is putting on lashes and then it's dressed up.
And like makeup. I don't think I had foundation on, but if I'm wearing like, maybe it's the lashes that means dress up. And high heels, because I don't wear heels very often.
Yeah. I'm not wearing high heels for any amount of dressing up anymore.
They were like wedges.
You were lifted. You were elevated.
I was lifted, exactly. And lipstick, which I don't really wear anymore. So it felt good. I mean, like I look at those photos and I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not every day. That was months ago now.
I was going to ask you, how do you feel about dressing up? But it seems pretty clear that you enjoy it.
I do. I mean, I think it's interesting. Like being in New York, it felt like there are people there who dress up every day, all the time. And we were going to see a show. I think the community I live in is not a dress up community now, so I would feel out of place.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't feel comfortable dressing up really unless there was a specific reason.
You would need to go out to dinner or something, or like.
Right. But even out to dinner here, like I just don't see other people really dressing up. That doesn't mean I couldn't do it, but there's something about being in an environment where other people are also dressed up that makes it feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nice. Actually, I remember Sanai, for one of her friends' birthday parties, or maybe it was Ilea. Anyway, one of my daughter's friends had a birthday party that was like black tie or something, dress up. And it was a dinner at their house, but they all dressed up. And I thought, what a great idea. That sort of made an occasion of it.
Yes.
So yeah, that's fun.
All right. Well, let's take a break. And when we come back, we will share our peaks and valleys.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent, savory gravy? over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Okay, we're back with peaks and valleys because in life there are always peaks and valleys, and Malika is up with a peak.
So my peak is that I rediscovered my milk frother in the cabinet below the sink. And like part of it was in the pantry, different places, but it is so nice to have frothy milk for your coffee beverage. I think I thought of it because the weather felt cooler and I wanted something warm. And so I was like, oh yeah, I do have this thing. And then I remembered that you could make cold milk froth for ice beverages. Gretchen has mentioned a milk frother a couple times in the Happiness Project Revisited container of special luxuries for tools that make life feel luxurious. That's what it is. And I have to agree. It does just feel luxurious to be able to easily froth my milk and enhance my daily morning beverage.
Well, that sounds special. I had a milk frother that I think Sinai took over and I haven't seen it again. But I don't drink coffee, but maybe there's a way to do it for tea. In the fall, one of the things I like to do is have a cup of tea, and maybe there's a way to add something frothed to that.
Yes, a tea latte.
Interesting. Okay. Something else to add to the fall bucket list.
Azizi, what's your valley?
So my valley is this week we dealt with an ordeal where my sweet dog Bo was attacked by a coyote in our backyard. And it was late at night. We let him go out to go to the bathroom before we were going to bed and heard some noise, looked out and saw the coyote, and Bo was kind of running towards the house and turned into this. I mean, obviously that was terrifying. We've never had coyotes in our backyard before. Our backyard is fenced and closed. And so it was hard to imagine how the coyote got in, but somehow they did. And we had to go to the vet and antibiotics, and he's going to be okay. He's going to be fine. Thank goodness. But it was just a reminder, especially for folks who live I feel like in Southern California, maybe this is everywhere. Even if you've never had a coyote in your yard before, just be mindful. They're out there. Yeah. So that was a valley, definitely having to deal with that. But I'm so thankful for the vets and everyone who helped to take care of Bo. And he has we call it the cone of shame. He has the cone on now to make sure that he doesn't get 2 stitches, but he's going to be fine.
Maybe you can call it the healing cone.
Instead of the cone of shame.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got the healing cone on.
There you go.
That will help him heal, and he'll be all better in probably another week.
That's good. I'm sorry that happened. That is scary.
Yeah. The wild.
Well, that brings us to the end. Azizi, let's leave on a happier thought. What are you going to try this week?
I am going to try improv.
Okay.
I need to figure out what I'm doing, where I'm going. Maybe you can give me some recommendations. I want to take some steps there.
Excellent.
What about you, Malika?
I am going to buy some solid black socks.
This is probably like the oldest person thing you have ever said. Good for you, Malika. Buy some black socks.
Yes. Can't wait. Thank you for listening to this episode. You can find our show notes in the episode description or on our website. If you like us, rate, review, and tell a friend. And don't forget to follow us.
Send us a message at happierladies@gmail.com and tell us something that's making you happier this week.
Our show was edited by Magnus Bjorgum, and our theme music was created by Wyatt Muncie.
You can find us on Instagram at happierladies and on the web at happierladies.com. All right, Malika, have a happier week.
Have a happier week, Azizi.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.